Welcome to our videos on advanced features of Google AdWords. In this video, we'll look at what the website optimizer reports will tell us. Okay, it's been a couple of days since our last video, so let's see how our testing pages are doing. So if we go back to Tools, so let's go back to Website Optimizer. Okay, some information has come in, and that's really just from me clicking around the pages. So we have our multivariate test and our A/B test. And at the main screen for Website Optimizer, it gives you overview statistics. So page visitors for multivariate tests, 6, and for A/B testing, 3 page visitors, which is just me, of course, visiting multiple times. And each one of those has a conversion of 1. I did visit the conversion pages more than once, but very usefully and to help with accuracy of testing, it appears that Google does a number of checks to make sure that even if one person visits the conversion page more than once, that they're only counted once. Obviously, I can't tell you exactly how Google does this because without actually working at Google, there's no real way of finding that out. But I would assume that if they're really very careful about assuring that one conversion is really tracked as just one conversion, even if that visitor comes back multiple times, then Google may pay attention again to things like cookies. Cookies are a fairly basic way of tracking, so Google may even pay attention to IP address and browser session information to help as much as possible to keep these statistics accurate, which is good for you. Okay, so overall for multivariate tests, 6 page visitors, which was me visiting multiple times, clearing cookies each time. Conversion, just 1. So a 16.67% conversion rate. Finish time isn't applicable because it's still an ongoing experiment. For A/B testing, 3 visits, 1 conversion, for 33.33% conversion rate. So let's take a more detailed look at these reports. First of all, let's take a look at the A/B testing report. And importantly, it says, we have not gathered enough data yet to show any significant results. When we collect more data, we should be able to show you a winning combination. So that's the reason a lot of this is still blank. And of course, unless you have, when you're testing pages and just want to play around with the reports here, you may want your coworkers to visit your pages or get your friends and family to visit your pages just to get some meaningful statistics so you can become familiar with the report before you start making your pages live for everyday visitors to your site. Okay, so with the A/B combination, there are just 2 pages. There's the original page and the combination page, combination 1. And as you can see, there's no meaningful data yet for estimated conversion rate range. Chance to beat original, chance to beat all, observed improvement, all are blank. All we have is conversions and visitors. So, okay, for the original page, 0 conversions, 2 visitors. For the combination page, 1 conversion, 1 visitor. And with this report, you also have the option of showing the best combination or the worst combination. But again, not enough data here yet to offer anything meaningful. But once you have a decent amount of data and it's being displayed in these reports here, Google does make things self-explanatory in these reports, so it should be quite straightforward for you to read the information presented to you. However, when you do have enough data, all these 4 columns will fill in. So let me just quickly talk you through what they refer to. First of all, estimated conversion rate range. Often when you're talking about internet marketing, conversion rates are described as if the page converted 25% or the page converted at 10%, that of course is an approximation across the entire number of visitors you've chosen to measure. For example, 1,000 visitors for a week, you get an average conversion rate over that week, and on average it converts to 25%. But it may range from 5% for certain visitors to 50%. So what it's going to show you here in estimated conversion rate range is Google's going to make an estimate as well as it can of the range of the different conversion rates. And of course, the number in the middle is your average conversion rate. But it doesn't just present you an average conversion rate, it actually shows you the range, which is useful to know. Okay, chance to beat original. Basically, what this column does, it shows you the probability that Google has calculated, according to the data already collected, that presents you with a probability that the combinations that you're testing against the original will do better than the original. So obviously, the higher the value here, the more Google is estimating that this combination will do better than the original from the data it's already received. And possibly over time, as more and more data is received, these figures will all change, of course. But it's really the estimated conversion rate range, the chance to beat the original, the chance to beat all. They're Google's way of trying to be as helpful as possible about the outcome of the test before the test has fully run its course. Okay, chance to beat all. Very similar to that. What is the chance that this combination will beat all other combinations? Again, presented as a probability. Okay, and observed improvement. Basically, this takes all the combinations you're testing against your original and presents how well they're doing against the original page. For example, if combination 1 is getting twice as many eZine signups as the original page, observed improvement would be 100% or around that. If it's doing half as many, observed improvement would be minus 100%. But again, these 4 columns are really just to help you, really for Google to present you with as helpful data as possible that's calculated from the amount of testing you've done to date. Obviously, the longer you run your tests, the more concrete the actual numbers become. And specifically, the longer you run the tests, the more accurate the overall conversion rate is going to be, because you'll get when you have a decent amount of data, the numbers you'll get will become more and more meaningful and more concrete. So really, you could say the overall conversion rate, the longer you leave it, the more accurate it is, but these 4 columns are really just to help you predict as much as possible how the test is going to turn out over time. Okay, now let's look at the multivariate report screen. Let's close that and take a look at the multivariate report. And okay, there's a lot of similar information here. In this case, you can view the best 3 combinations or the worst 3 combinations. And of course, the more page sections you're testing, the more combinations you're going to have. So again, if you're testing 3 sections and each section has 3 combinations, that's a total of 9 different pages that you're testing against each other. And again, you're presented with estimated conversion rate range, chance to beat original, chance to beat all, and observed improvement. So again, Google is trying to be as helpful as possible and predict how the test is going to do even before you let it fully run its course. And again, the conversion/visitors column. Okay, 2 conversions for the original, 3 overall visitors, and for combination 1, 2, and 3, 0 conversions, and 1, 2, and 2 visitors. So let's just take a look at the Page Sections tab. And here, the information is presented on a per-section basis. So in this test, I was testing 2 sections of the page. I was testing the headline, and if the text gets truncated here, you can just hold the mouse over this and you get a pop-up of the full text. So headline test, and I was testing the headline. So for the headline test, there are two combinations, the original and the how-to headline. And for the subhead test, there's two combinations, original and subheading alignment. And again, we're presented with estimated conversion rate range, chance to beat original, chance to beat all, observed improvement, and overall conversions against visitors. So the original version of the page, 4 visitors, 2 conversions, and for the how-to headline, 4 visits and 0 conversions. For the subheadline test, original look, which was left aligned, 5 visitors, 2 conversions, and for the centrally aligned subheading, 3 visits and no conversions. So with these multiple sections being tested at the same time, over time, as you get more and more visitors, you'll be able to view accurately the best 3 combinations. And then you'll be able to choose which combination to stick with, or maybe stick with those 3 combinations and continue to test them against each other over time, or even keep adding new combinations to keep improving the page more and more. And you can also see worst 3 combinations, so those would be the combinations to remove for good. But again, as always, I keep stressing this, but don't make any decisions prematurely. Wait until enough data has come in before you get rid of pages you don't believe are working well, because you need a decent amount of data to make the right decision. And also, it's important to know that different traffic, different website visitors from different sources are going to behave differently. So that's why it's important to let it run over time as well, so you get a lot of different kinds of traffic. For example, let's say you run an e-commerce store, an online catalog selling laptops. And let's say, for example, that one of the brands you sell is IBM laptops. If, for example, someone goes to Google and types in IBM laptop and an actual model number, and they searched for that and your website came up, and they click through, that's actually, let me be even more accurate. Let's say a person types in IBM laptop and a model number and also buy. So for example, buy IBM laptop model number 123. And let's say your website came up in the top 10 and they clicked through. For someone typing in such a targeted search term, they're a lot more likely to buy than someone, let's say, looking for IBM laptop software. They're looking for specific software to help with their IBM laptop. Those 2 people could come to your site, but one would be a lot more likely to convert than the other, because if you're selling laptops, the one actually looking to buy a laptop is much more likely to convert than the one looking for software who clicks through to your site and then realizes it's not actually the best site for them. And that's just an example from search engines. There's lots of other types of traffic, of course. There's traffic you can buy through Google advertising, banner advertising. You can even still buy pop-ups so that when someone closes their browser window, your site has appeared on the screen behind that browser window. And actually, that's an example of untargeted traffic that often converts very badly. Let's say you paid for 10,000 pop-ups. So now your page appears 10,000 times when someone visits another site. Say you purchase those pop-ups on CNN, for example. So when someone visits CNN, your website pops up behind the CNN web page. So only when they close the web browser window in which CNN is showing do they see your page. That's still 10,000 visits, but it's very untargeted because people didn't choose to visit your site specifically. And they might just take a glance and then close the page on your site. So the conversion rate on such visitors is going to be a lot less. So really, you want to take into consideration as many traffic sources as possible. Or if you're getting traffic from multiple sources, wait until a decent amount of traffic has come from the different sources so you can actually work out an accurate average. Because if you just tested using the poor quality traffic, the conversion rate would be very low. If you just did a test using the high quality traffic, the conversion rate could be very high. So if you're buying traffic from multiple sources, And if you're getting that traffic for free from multiple sources, for example, articles, search engine marketing, even publicity, then you really want to take all that on board. Wait until you have a good average, wait until the traffic has come from all the sources, and then you'll have an accurate average of how your site is doing overall and how your pages are converting. This is really more a Google Analytics issue rather than purely a testing issue, but if you're going through your Google Analytics carefully, you can keep an eye on exactly what type of traffic converts, which doesn't, and that will also help you make decisions. For example, you may track all the traffic that comes from pop-ups, and you may decide that buying pop-ups is a complete waste of money. For example, you may have 10,000 visitors. You may have 10,000 visitors and not a single one has become a customer, so that's money poorly spent. With analytics, that helps you make such important decisions about what traffic works for you and what traffic doesn't. And that's very important, especially if you're buying traffic. And then, just through the nature of removing poorly converting traffic sources, you may end up with less traffic, but the same number of sales overall, or just slightly less than the number of sales you had before. But because of that, your overall conversion rate is going to go up hugely when tracking visitors against e-zine signups, for example, or sales.